Hey, welcome back to another episode of the She's Making an Impact podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ngom. I am very excited for you to hear today's interview. I had a lot of fun with this. I have Tracy Goodwin. She is the owner of Captivate the Room and creator of Psychology of the Voice. And she has taught thousands of celebrities, professionals, and entrepreneurs how to transform their lives and the lives of their listeners with their voice by stepping into the power of their natural voice so they amplify their authority and captivate the room. You're going to love this about how you can actually show up authentically so you can captivate the room. We have, I had her actually coach me, so you can hear that as well. It was a lot of fun having our conversation. So you get to listen into it. I hope you enjoy. Let's get to it. Hey, Tracy, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, let's start off. Just tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Well, I am what you might call a voice coach, but a lot of people say, don't call yourself a voice coach. What you really do is transform people from the inside out around how they use their voices. Okay. So everything I do is centered around psychology of the voice and teaching people how to free their voice so that they speak with their real voice, which is their greatest asset.
Ooh, okay. How'd you get into that?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was an actor and I was a director, and I was always gifted in hearing voices and understanding layers of voices. But I was actually raised in a family with this extreme version of children are to be seen and not heard. So in my mind, I could not fathom that coaching voices was my purpose. How could that be? Look at my background. It was a real, there's no way I can do that. Imposters, it was all of that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, so I got into it kicking and screaming is how I got into it. It kept showing up in front of me. I was being an actor, I was being a director, and this was Yellow Pages days, not social media days. And people kept finding me to coach their voices. And I finally got it. Okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is where my gift is. I can hear layers of voices. And that was probably in my mid to late 20s. And yeah, the rest is history. I've been doing it ever since.
Amazing. So you mentioned psychology of the voice. Can you explain what that is?
Yes, that is the methodology that I've created over the last 20, 30 years. The early years of my career were actually in dialect work. I taught actors dialects, and I removed dialects from business people because they had perceptions around them. And I'm a big researcher, and I was fascinated with why do the Irish sound Irish and I sound Texan? And what I discovered was the subconscious actually puts the dialect in. Why? Sense of belonging. So I dove deeper, and I was watching clients sit in front of me, and they all had this story and these voice habits, and it was way bigger than you need to speak louder. And what I discovered was the subconscious is actually calling the shots on how we use our voice, and it starts before we're 5. Wow. One phrase determines how we're going to use our voice the rest of our life, because our subconscious goal is to protect our heart. The voice is the orchestra of the heart. So the subconscious, will hear somebody say, hey, you need to hold it down before you're 5. And the subconscious says, don't worry, I've got that. And the next thing you know, I've got somebody that's 40 in front of me and their jaw is locked and they're not releasing their words. They're not releasing their sound. So psychology of the voice is about what's going on in our head actually determines how we're going to show up vocally.
Oh, okay. So the subconscious is in control. How do we shift out of that then?
Well, we have to look at what are the stories. There's stories, and then there's a core driver. And that core driver comes from whatever that phrase was. Stop talking. You're being so loud. Why don't you ever say anything? And we have to start paying attention to that noise. And then we have to question it.
Yeah.
We have to say, is this ultimately true that I'm bothering people? Because as long as that driver is running in our head, well, I won't call you. I won't reach out, and I'm not going to show up on video. I don't want to bother anybody. So we have to recognize that noise, question that noise, and then we have to look at everything else that's going on in our head. Are we trying to get the words right? Are we in the past or the future? Because if I'm in the past or the future, my voice won't work. That's when we flatline.
Okay.
We've got to start. That's the foundation.
Yeah.
Is stop all the noise in the head. Stop trying to get the words right. Trust that you've got them, because you do, and get present. It's really, in a nutshell, as simple as get in this conversation with me. Don't be thinking about what I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Which I think a lot of times we do, especially if you're interviewing, you're like, what's the next question I'm going to ask her?
I know. Well, we're trained to do that.
Yeah.
Because we're trained to believe that we can control the outcome, and we can't, but we can control the conversation by fully showing up vocally in a conversation.
Okay. All right. Let's say I start working with you. What are some of the things that we would actually do together? And what are some of the things that I can improve upon? Ooh, this is fun.
Okay, I have to answer, and then I have to go into my listening ear.
Yeah.
So first, foundation is first. Everybody comes and says, "Ooh, I want to sound more interesting. I want to sound more captivating. I kind of flatline. Can you make me sound more interesting where people will listen to me?"
Yeah.
Absolutely. But that's step 3, because we've got to address those drivers and that noise first. Because you're not going to be able to show up as the best version of you if that driver is saying, "Hey, tone it down, circus clown." See, and this is the frustration for people. Why can't I just show up big? Why do I do 42 takes when I do a video? Right? Because you've got drivers running in your head. So we have to eradicate all of that. We have to retrain the habit of I'm always present. And I tell everybody, turn everything into a conversation in your mind's eye with somebody you know, like, and trust. Because once you are in that conversation and you've got in your mind's eye that I feel comfortable because I'm talking to Bill and Judy.
Yeah.
Now you're going to feel like I'm talking to you, and your voice is going to go to work, and you get out of your head dissecting what we think people are thinking. So those are a couple of things that we would do. Then we're going to look at voice masks. What are you hiding behind? What have those stories and drivers put in place? Are you a people pleaser? Because if you are, vocally, you're going to be like this, and because you're trying to be what you think I want you to be, and in that listener subconscious, they don't know you're a people pleaser. They're picking up sounds and they're going, well, does she really know what she's talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And then you're sitting there going, why can't I make a sale? Why can't I grow my business? Why aren't people watching my video without realizing that they're subconsciously dissecting the sounds? And that could be a mask that you've put up to keep people out. And that's where we go next.
Ooh. Oh, this is like way deeper than I was expecting. This is awesome. Yeah, it's
way bigger than just sound confident, just speak louder. I have, not to discredit that, that's very valuable.
Right.
But it's so much bigger. It's so much bigger. The core of my research, when I discovered that I can hear like I can hear, and the layers that I can hear, I spent 10 years researching how the listener's subconscious is processing sounds. And that's how I came up with voice masks. Are you justifying? Are you wording me to death? Are you trying to prove your worth? It's all in sounds.
Wow. Okay. So our audience, they are like the impact makers. They want to show up and make as big of an impact on the world as they possibly can with their business. How can we do that if we're like subconsciously hiding? Like, how do we show up as the most confident version of ourselves so the audience actually takes that and they're like, yes, like they have authority, they know what they're talking about? What are some of the steps that we can take immediately?
I love that question. And here's a couple of really easy tangibles. First and foremost, stop deciding what we're thinking. That's the core of the problem, is you are thinking that we're thinking you don't know what you're talking about. You're thinking, who am I to show up and play big? This is human nature.
Yeah.
We've decided what they're thinking, and it
Yeah.
is never good. Right.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is even when you read faces, let's say they're in the room, even when you read faces, you have no idea what they're thinking.
Right.
Right. Like, I have no idea what you're thinking right now. I'm looking right at you. Yet we go into this tailspin of, well, who am I? And what is this? And I got to get it right. Stop. I call it tentacles in. Bring the tentacles in. Stop reading what you think people are thinking. Bring the tentacles in and work from, what is your message? What do I really need them to know? Don't hand your power over to your audience by deciding what they're thinking. Bring those tentacles in. And then the next thing is boldly own everything that comes out of your mouth like it's a fact. It's a fact. I'm sitting in Texas right now.
Yep.
I believe in what I'm talking about. I'm going to boldly own it, just like I'm sitting in Texas.
Yeah.
Instead of being careful and trying to get it right. No, you own it. You know you're the expert. Trust you have the words. So many people get worried about the words.
Yeah.
I've got to get the words right. I've got to get the words perfect. 42 takes later, right? No, you have the words. So just like don't decide what we're thinking, how are we going to know if you get it right? You're the expert.
Yeah. So it sounds like this is especially for a perfectionist who's like, I need to show up and have every word, like, know exactly what I'm going to say before I actually say it. And if it's not right, then I have to do it over again and over again. So how do we, like, for someone who they know they're a perfectionist and they want to get over that because it's keeping them stuck, just show up and do it? Or like, what are like a thing that they could do right away?
So first and foremost, release the outcome.
Okay.
How do we know if it's perfect? How do I know if it's, I'll never know if it's, I think everything is, it is perfect now.
Yep.
It is, if you work from the place of trusting that you're going to have the words will flow. When you get up in your head and put this grip on, I've got to get these words perfect.
Yeah.
It's like kinking a garden hose,
Yeah.
and the right words will never come. So that's a theory type thing. But as far as a tangible, first and foremost, work from the place of message. What do I need them to know? Blank.
Yep.
I need them to know that their voice is their greatest asset. Okay, that's what I'm going to work from.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing a video about something, I might take a sticky note and put 3 words on it. And the second I see those 3 words, I'm going to know what to say. And all of that will get you out of your head. Yeah. All you need is a net. All you need is to bring the tentacles in. So if I'm working from the place of, this is what I really want Rachel and her audience to know today, the words are going to come. If I need a little guide, it's there. But the goal is to keep you out of your head, because what happens, what that perfectionism is about, is here you go, you're doing your video, you get up in your head and you start dissecting. I shouldn't have said it that way. That's not what I meant. Let me start over. And every single time you start over, the grip gets tighter.
It gets worse and worse.
It gets worse every time.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. If you go into take 3, you're going to do 23.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is be bold and to focus on the message. Don't try to be perfect. Okay. What are some other things we can do? Like, we want to really rise up as leaders. Like, we want to be known as that go-to expert in what we're doing. Besides like having a timid monotone voice where I'm not really sure what I'm talking about, what are some other things that we can do, or some mistakes that you see that we're making?
Sure. The biggest problem for many of the things around flatlining and beyond is going up in your head and focusing on the words. We've covered that.
Yeah.
So here's the game changer.
Mm-hmm.
It is not about the words, and it is the words you are trying to get perfect. It is about how you make me feel.
Oh, okay. Let's say it again. Say it again, because I think this is gold. Gold.
This
Gold,
is
gold.
the game
Okay.
changer.
Yes.
This is the world teaches us, get the words right and they'll buy from you. Get the words right and they're going to think you're an expert. That's part of it.
Yeah.
But it is not about the words. It is about how you make me feel. And it is about the experience you create for me vocally. We focus on these words, and let me tell you all these words, and let me give you these words. But what the subconscious is listening for is a sound that says, that's my girl. That's the one.
Yeah.
I get that. And we play so small vocally. Well, I can't snort laugh in the video.
Yeah.
Well, is that who you are? I want to know who you are.
Yeah.
And I want to hear the full orchestra of your voice. And if you're focused on the words, then I'm not going to get that full orchestra. And it might even cause you to go really fast. And then you've played one note. And I want to say something about that one note, but I want to stay on this. What do you want them to feel? Because when you can just even work from that place, your voice is going to go to work.
Totally.
You're going to have the highs and lows organically. I mean, we can break it all down technically and we can get really strategic with it and fun. Yeah. But if you just work from, gosh, do I want them to feel excited?
Yeah.
Well, then I need to hear that in your voice, because that's what my subconscious is going to pick up and go, wow, this is exciting. I like what she's talking about. Then I will hear your words.
Yeah.
The words are second. So we want to work from that place of, what do I want them to feel? Then we can work from the place of what I call bits of you. What do you do when you're with your spouse? How do you use your voice when you're with your best friend?
Yeah.
Why do you stop when you get on video? Maybe I have that little bit of something. And when I hear that bit in you, I go, wow, I do that too.
Yeah.
And now we've created an emotional connection, which goes way beyond words.
Which you can't do if you're in your head. Right.
No, the voice will not work when you are in your head, because when you are in your head, you're disconnected from your body.
Right.
Your voice is the orchestra of your heart. So if I go up into my head, I am going to flatline. I'm going to play one note. And so we miss this. Who are they really? I'm not sure, but we run an even bigger risk. And this is some fascinating research where when we stay on that one note, let's say we get up in our head and we're going really fast because we don't want to miss any of the words in our head. Well, everybody has a voice aversion.
Right.
So if my aversion is fast and everything you say is fast, everything is fast.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm going to look for somebody else.
What if we are naturally like a fast talker and we speak fast because we're excited?
Perfect. 100% perfect. I wouldn't take that away.
Okay.
But what I would roll in is, what other shades are there of excitement?
Right. Okay.
Right. Like you think of shades of blue. There's so many shades of blue. Baby is not navy. Why do we say them the same? So when we think about excitement or frustration or anger or anything,
right,
what are the other shades? So I have a lot of fast talkers, right?
Right.
And so you're fast, you're excited, but what is the moment where you go somewhere else just to create that shift?
Okay.
Right? There are other shades of every feeling. And we want to play all those shades because we don't know what's going on inside our listener, and we want to make the biggest impact.
Right.
I want to impact everybody in the room, and I don't know who's going to resonate with fast and slow, and everybody's got a different way they express excitement.
Okay. Okay. So this is when I'm starting to get into my head as I'm hearing you with this part of other people will like hear excitement differently does that mean I need to train my voice to appeal to those different personalities? Or do I show up as myself, hoping that I'll appeal to the different personalities? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. And we never want to become what we think they want us to be.
Right.
But what we want to explore are the shades of us.
Okay.
How many more shades are there? So you can look, I'm going to go back to the example of when I'm with my spouse or my partner or my best friend, I do all these things. Totally. And then I get on video and I don't do any of those things.
Freeze.
Right? Everything's one note. So you want to play all the shades of you because there are more shades to you than just fast.
Right.
So we want to bring all those shades with us into everything we do. People will say, well, Tracy, what's my video voice? No, I want the best version of you everywhere. We may elevate your vocal energy a little bit. We may do adjustments like that. But the minute we go into, well, I'm going to be on video now, we've created a disconnect.
Yeah.
Where our people feel this barrier between us.
Right.
And then they can't hear us because they can't connect with us.
Right.
So we always want that best version of you. We always want that conversation. We always want that, all the shades of you.
Right.
So if we broke it down technically, so let's say you're fast and excitement is fast.
Right.
Well, are there slow bits of that excitement? Are there loud bits? Are there quieter bits? Right? There are more shades and we have them in us.
Right.
We just don't tend to play them because in our mind, that subconscious is going, hey, tone it down. They're judging. They're thinking you're too dramatic.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, right? And you're like, yeah, but I kind of am dramatic, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So it's about embracing who you are and releasing that judgment because remember, we don't know what they're thinking anyway.
Right. Okay. So I do this a lot with guests that we have on. I want you to actually coach me based off of the short interaction that we've had. How could I improve on my voice quality and how I'm showing up?
Okay, so I literally turned on my listening ear because I was being so present with you. So can you just talk to me for a minute and let me just, I've already got a couple of thoughts, but could you just talk to me for just a minute and let me just listen?
Of course. So now I'm like on the spot. Oh,
and nothing is bad. I always tell people ad nauseum, there are no bad voices. There are voices and there are voices we can take to another level.
Totally. Yeah. There's a voice that you can help supercharge to improve upon their messaging, so as we're speaking, if we're too much in our heads, then we're not gonna be able to make that connection that we really, truly want to make.
You're really good. Oh. This is hard.
Oh man, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you a thinker?
Not really.
Not really. Okay. So are you a data person?
I have my moments, and being an entrepreneur has helped me become a data person. I don't think I'm naturally that way though, but now I geek out on numbers.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a little something I'm picking up on. Now I've got a weird question for you. Do you grind your teeth?
Yes, I have to wear a mouth guard. Oh.
Okay. So what I'm hearing, you're very, and I use the word, I think we overuse this word authentic. In a lot of ways. And a lot of times we throw these words out and it's like, what does that even mean? Right.
Yeah.
But you really show up as yourself. It's so easy to connect with you. The minute that you came on the screen, there wasn't that 3-minute, let's get into our zone thing happening. So, there are no barriers there, but I can, and this is so microscopic. Yeah. But what I heard that I could hear your sound. I could hear it hitting your jaw and not fully flowing out.
Okay.
Right. And everybody's sound is stuck somewhere. It's either the jaw, the throat. If you've got anybody that speaks in a high pitch all the time, their sound is literally stuck.
Okay.
And it goes all the way back to that input that we received from who knows where, a college professor, a neighbor, and something said, hold on tight. No, don't let it out.
Don't let it out.
And we created a habit that became the let me be in brace mode with my jaw.
Yeah.
Okay. And most people are jaw or throat.
Yeah.
One or the other. And so what happens, your sound is coming out, but there's a whole nother level of that I would love for your sound to wrap around my heart. And I don't want you to have to work to get that sound out. Okay. Now, I don't know if this is, I'm not necessarily picking this up, but do you ever feel like you have to get a little louder to be heard?
I think I'm naturally kind of a loud person.
Are you?
Yeah. When we lived in France, French people are very quiet and soft-spoken, and I'd be like, I'm the loud American. Because like typically like we're known as being very loud. So I'm usually louder. I consider myself a louder person.
Okay. So do you want me to show you something? And let's see if this shifts the jaw.
Sure.
Okay. It's weird.
I'm down.
You're down for weird. Okay. I don't do a ton of weird stuff. It's actually a lot of times people say, is this therapy or voice? I don't know what's happening here, but this is something very, very technical. I just want to test something. I want you to say the sentence, the carp and shark were in the barn.
The carp and shark were in the barn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The carp and shark were in the barn.
Okay. Now we're going to take the word shark and you're going to stretch your jaw. As we say the word shark, we're going to go shark, shark. Doesn't pop or crack, does it?
Sometimes my jaw will get stuck.
Yeah. Okay.
It's gotten better lately, but sometimes it would literally get stuck and I'd be like, oh, gotta let it pop.
Yeah. Okay. So for anybody that's listening, if you're going to try this at home because you grind your teeth or you're in brace mode, we tend to function in brace mode. If you do this and your jaw is popping or cracking, stop. Okay. But we're going to do this. We really need to do it 4 times. We really need to go shark, shark. We need to do it 4 times. So you ready? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Shark, shark.
It's weird.
Shark.
Now go back to I know it's strange. Now go back to the carp and shark were in the barn.
The carp and shark were in the barn. I felt myself trying to do it.
Yeah. But could you tell that your sound came up and out a little bit more?
A little bit.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to let the listeners know and send us a message on Instagram or something if they could tell a difference.
Yeah. And you would probably need to do an exercise like that. I'd probably put you on that 30 days.
Yeah.
And it would literally free your jaw. I used to break those night guards in half.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, it is bad for sure.
Yeah, and we many people do that. We function in brace mode. Totally. Let me hold on tight. We tend to hold on tighter when it comes to our voice, and let me push harder, and that ends up being in a talking out or a grip comes on our voice, or we're completely disconnected from our breath.
Yeah, and
then all of that stuff is not necessarily the best reveal of us. If I've got a grip on my voice, and this is not what you're doing at all, but if I've got the brace mode on, or I've locked my jaw because I think you don't want to hear what I have to say, and I get on video and I'm talking like this, well, is that really who I am, or is that a creation of my subconscious based on stories from who knows when?
Whew. Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, I see how powerful this could be, like through working with you. So to get through like the step 1 of the subconscious, what are like some resources that we could give our audience to help them understand what is actually going through their subconscious that's keeping them small so they can actually get over that and move forward?
The first thing you want to do is literally pay attention to the noise in your head. There's several pieces to this pillar one, which is what I call unearth the stories. What are the tapes? Yeah, I said tapes, like cassette tapes. One of the 8-track tapes running in your head, right? You know, what is that? If you pay attention, you will hear the themes. Stop bothering people. You're going to offend people. People are not going to like you. People are going to question you. People are going to write mean comments. Okay. You will notice a theme in the noise.
Oh, yeah.
There might be 5 stories. There might be 10 stories, but start paying attention to what you hear and question every piece of it. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Is that ultimately true? You know, the truth of the matter is there are microscopic absolutes. I used to say height was an absolute, but now that I've gotten older, I've shrunk a little bit. So height isn't even an absolute, you know, but yet somebody said I was bothering them. Okay, now all of a sudden that's an absolute that we're using our voice around. No, so pay attention to the noise and redirect back to the now ad nauseum. Get out of the past. Remember that time when I spoke up and that doesn't exist anymore. Or what are they going to think about me if I really set them straight? No, that's the future. Back to the now, back to the now, back to the now. The minute you go up into your head, I got to get these words right. What's the right? Back to the now.
Yeah.
And that seems so simple, but it may be the hardest task that we do.
We have to just constantly retrain our brain, like
yeah, absolutely,
over and over,
absolutely,
and over again.
absolutely, absolutely. You know, but it can be done. I mean, I'm living proof of it. My people are living proof of it, because the minute you're up there, you are not here. I am here. I'm not up there. To connect with you, I've got to be here with you. Right. I mean, even like an outcome driven person or a problem solver, awesome qualities. But if they're vocally all the way down there and they're already in the outcome, I don't know where the outcome is. I'm here. Disconnect.
Right.
So we've got to get so present all the time. I can think about in preparation, like I could prepare for this conversation today, but I'm not going to be worried about notes and am I answering it right? And is she liking me? And I mean, none of that. I'm going to be right here working from what I know to be true. I am the expert in what I do, as all your listeners are the expert in what they do. They've just got to buy in to that.
Yeah.
And when I'm right here connected to that message, redirecting out of the past and the future and the right words and the wrong words, everything's going to flow. And it will. It sounds a little out there and it sounds like, ooh, that sounds scary. I don't know if I can trust that, but I promise you, I would not give it to you if it wasn't going to work.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me think about when I first started like my podcast, or, you know, I didn't bring on these huge guests in the beginning. Like we've had some incredible guests on this podcast, and I didn't start like that. I was literally like, hey, Megan's one of my best friends. I'm going to have her on so I can interview her and start just to get more comfortable with actually doing this. Yeah. And then the more people I talk to, the more comfortable and confident I became to have people like Dean Graziosi and, you know, other people on the show. But it didn't start like that. So can you encourage, you know, our people, like we all start somewhere, and you might see someone where they're at, but like we all start at 0, you know, like you
absolutely
perfect.
Absolutely. Not even close. And I think that's the fun part of the journey. What if we were had it all together all the time and started with this huge, what would we do? We'd be bored out of our minds.
Nobody has it all together.
Nobody has it all together. Nobody ever. Right. I call it the Earth School journey for a reason. Right. But for those listeners that are thinking, well, when I get this, I'm going to start getting visible. And when I can stop it. Stop it.
Yeah.
You've got to show up now.
Yeah.
more than ever, more than, I've done this over 30 years. And I've always said, you need to get, back when there weren't these phones like we have today and whatnot,
Yeah.
you still had to show up. And if you are waiting until I blank, you have fallen prey to the subconscious of your mind that is making you believe false proof.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to stay small. We've got to protect that heart. We can't, you'll be, that's
Yeah.
a trick of your subconscious, and you're falling for it.
Yeah.
And you have to start showing up. And I have certainly found from my own experience, the more I showed up, the more I ran groups, the more I did podcast interviews, 100% the more solid I got.
Oh yeah.
I found out what I didn't want to do, and I found out what I did want to do, and I got better at all of it.
Yeah. Show up and take messy action.
100%. Oh my gosh. Because remember, we're not thinking what you think we're thinking.
Yeah.
Chances are good, your audience could be sitting there going, wow, that's amazing. I really hope someday I can do that too.
Mm.
We have got to be the light.
Yeah.
We have got to be the light for others to follow behind us.
Yeah. I mean, like, if we've been able to do what we've been able to do, they can do it too. Like, it's just start before you're ready. Like, stop getting ready to get ready and just take action.
Oh my gosh. I say that constantly. You don't have time to get ready.
No.
The world blindsides us. You never know when somebody's going to say, hey, what do you do? Or you got to be ready.
Yep.
You got to get the word out. You've got to, because it is going to be a process.
Yeah.
It is, like you said, you're not going to roll the podcast out and the next day, wow, I had 87,000 downloads, right? I mean, well, it could. I mean, I suppose it could happen.
That
right?
didn't happen for me.
Didn't happen for me. Didn't happen for me either, right? But the sooner you start the process, the sooner you're going to find your sea legs. And like you said, start bringing those bigger names in. And I mean, that's exciting. Yep. But you've got to start.
Yep.
You've got to, and get in there. And if you mess it up, how do I even know if you messed it up? Here is your permission slip to go, you know what? Hold on a minute. I said that wrong. Let me back up. Because in doing that, you've just given your audience a giant permission slip to be human too.
Yep. I try to do that all the time. Like, I'll be in the middle of a challenge and be like, I totally lost my train of thought. Hold on. It'll come.
It's so good that you do that. I mean, I do it too. And so many people that's the redo right there. That's the mortification. Oh my gosh, they're thinking, I don't know what I'm talking about. No, they're not. They're thinking, oh my gosh, I did that this morning when I went into the kitchen.
Yep.
And it creates a relatable moment. Yep. Show me who you are. So I can go, yeah, that's my person. I'm like that too. She gets me. I get her. Getting it perfect is an automatic disconnect.
Right.
It's like a slickness. It's like, I always explain to people, it's like you're slipping out of my hands. That's how I hear it.
Yeah.
Don't slip out of their hands.
Yeah.
Talk to them.
That's good. What's one of the best books you've read that you think would really help our audience on this?
One of the best books I've ever read is actually not a voice book. It is The Body Keeps the Score, which is a fascinating body of work about how the body literally keeps the score of our experiences and our trauma. I just read it a year ago. It had been on my list forever. Yeah. And I was stunned at how he talks about our experience held in the body, like I talk about our experiences coming out of the voice. It is phenomenal. And my, it's hard for me to pick one. I think my second favorite would be Chris Voss's Never Split the Difference. And he talks about the power of voice and negotiation in that book. That's a hard question because I'm such an avid reader. I mean, I gobble books up.
Yeah. Well, the body keeps the score is one that's never been mentioned on the show before. So I wrote it down because I want to read it now.
Oh, it is amazing. That man's work is extraordinary.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to that. I'll literally add it
Yeah,
to my Amazon cart as soon as we're done.
I think you'll love it.
What does it mean to you to make an impact?
To change lives every day, to touch every single life that I was put on this planet to touch before I leave.
And where can we connect with you?
Best place to find me is captivatetheroom.com, but I'm on all the social medias as Captivate the Room.
Awesome. Tracy, you are incredible. You're just such a sweet soul and a wealth of knowledge. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great conversation.